So good afternoon. Actually, it's a lovely day in London, Oxford. So thank you for joining. I'm sure many of you would want to be outside in the sun because we haven't had much of it lately, as you know. So anyway, it's good you could be here. And let's talk about this topic. Yeah, choose happiness. Why? Why to choose happiness? So actually, there's many things that make us sad, make us upset. And there's no shortage of that, right? We know that. And so if there are many things that make me unhappy, then it's true that I'm allowing them to make me unhappy. Right? If I'm saying, yes, I get upset with this, I get upset with that, or that makes me crazy, then there's your answer. The answer is that I am allowing myself to get upset with these things. In other words, that thing is just a thing. It's just a fact. So, okay, there's lots of traffic, but I get mad or impatient because I see the traffic. I'm stuck in the traffic. Almost as though we've given life to traffic, almost as though we've allowed the traffic to have a personality, and this personality is conspiring to make you unhappy. Is it? No. Okay, another example. So somebody that you arrange to meet with, they don't turn up on time. And so that makes you unhappy. So again, can we control other people? I mean, maybe their intention was good. Maybe they intended to be there on time, but for some reason, they just couldn't. So then you have to forgive them. Because after you've heard their story, you realize, yes, they were stuck in traffic. Yes, they had to do something important. And so again, just accept. Another example, okay, I get mad with myself because I decided I'm going to exercise. I decided I'm going to eat well, eat healthy, eat on time, sleep on time, and then I don't stick to my routine. So that makes me upset, right? Because I don't have that self-discipline. I don't have that self-control. I can't say no. So see, all these, what do all these things have in common? That it's all to do with me and from me inside. So this should automatically kind of ring some alarm bells that maybe, just maybe, it's the way that I'm looking at things. Maybe it's my attitude towards those things. And therefore, I make my life difficult. What if I just shifted my attitude, became easy with the traffic and became easy with other people? And then I was a bit, light-hearted with myself. So what if I was that? Things would be okay. I'd be happier, right? So who is causing sorrow for whom? It's basically me for myself. So this, again, is a realization that if I am causing sorrow for myself, then it holds true that I can also create happiness for myself. Again, with the choice of my thoughts, with the switch of my consciousness. And so, yes, it is as simple as this. Change your thought. Okay, somebody's late, fine. Great, I get some time to do the things I need to do. Wonderful. Do you see? So we don't need to struggle. We don't need to beat about the bush. We don't need to be hard on ourselves. Just lighten up, make things easy. In fact, to be honest, lately, there's 3 personalities in different parts, different countries that I'm having to kind of deal with. And it's difficult personalities. In other words, their nature is difficult. And because their nature is difficult, the others are finding it difficult to work with them. And as a result of that, there is conflict. And as an onlooker, as an observer to the situation, the remedy is that you'd like to say, just lighten up. It's okay. Just be easy. Let it go. That is the solution. But when we are rigid, when we hold on to things, when we resist, then that doesn't make us happy. When we let go, when we are lighthearted, when we bring some humor into the situation, then we're okay. We're good. So when we accept the things that are happening around me, then I get power. Acceptance is a big power. Because what are you saying when you accept? What you're saying is that I'm not going to allow this thing to overpower me. I'm not going to allow this thing to take away my happiness. Happiness equals power. When you're happy, you're empowered. Let me give you an example. So if somebody is insulting you, shouting at you, wants to, drive you up the wall, and you just stand there with a smile. Not laugh, because that would be rude, but let's just say you just stand there and you're completely unaffected. Who's the more powerful one? It's you, isn't it? Not them, not they who are trying to get you mad or trying to take you off the seat of self-respect. No, it's you, because you are still in your power. And to stay in my power means that nothing has changed. I am who I am. I'm okay. I'm not going to get mad. I'm keeping my cool. I'm in my self-respect. I'm still happy. So this is why I'm saying, when you stay in your happiness, that is power. You're empowered. Now, I know as mothers, as women, perhaps children, your children drive you up the wall. So even with them, I've seen some mothers, again, just become lighthearted. At the end, what you need to be more concerned about is not these little petty actions of theirs, but to instill a very strong value-based foundation in them. And if you've done that, and if you feel you're doing that, then these little petty actions, they'll grow out of it. Like if they don't do what they're supposed to, if they're not cooking for themselves or not eating properly, that they'll grow out of that. But I don't need to keep losing my cool all the time and keep whining, and that doesn't help the relationship. So yeah, let me just be mindful that as I keep my calm, as I keep my cool, I'm holding on to my happiness. And as a result of that, I'm in my power. And when I'm in my power, then I can initiate, then I can take the next step, the next decision. When I'm sad, I can't. So let me talk to you about these different happy hormones that they talk about, right? So I have a little note here. So dopamine. Dopamine is very good. Dopamine is the hit that you get after completing a task. So, you know, you have these little puzzles, Sudoku, Wordle. I don't know if you do Wordle. I try to do Wordle every day. It's finding the 5-letter word, and you have 6 attempts. And it's these little hits that kind of raise your dopamine levels in you. So basically, yeah, completing tasks, celebrating a small win, even doing self-care, just taking care of yourself, or feeling like, okay, you've done some or most of your to-do list. This all gives you a sense of dopamine inside, and you're happy. Next is serotonin. Serotonin is what we call the mood stabilizer. So meditation is actually a very good mood stabilizer. And I think everybody should, whether you're following Raj Yoga meditation or not, Brahma Kumari's methodology or not, I think it's just good to sit quietly with yourself, calm your thoughts, empower your thoughts. Sun exposure is also serotonin. Walking in nature, being in touch with nature, walking on grass, all this is good serotonin. Next is oxytocin. So oxytocin is the love hormone. So it's about perhaps playing with the dog, holding a baby, playing with the baby, hugging, this sense of being with family or being with a loved one. So it's but it's not all about romantic love. It's about the feeling of being loved, of receiving love. So think about that one. Yeah, how can I increase that for myself? And then we have endorphin. So endorphin is the painkiller. So we always say that laughter is a good endorphin. There's many people who have healed their cancers just by looking at comedy movies. Essential oils, laughter therapy, all these are actually endorphin enhancing. So if we can't do the work here, let us try to do the work here. And yeah, it's very good. So yeah, I want to say that there is no such thing as happyometer. Happyometer, where you can actually measure your happiness. But you measure your happiness based on what? Based on your experiences. And so I want to give a few examples from Daniel Gilbert and his famous book, Stumbling Upon Happiness. And he's done quite a few experiments. Okay, let me begin with that experiment. So that experiment is where there's 100 students and they're split in half. 50 are given, I'm not sure if it's $20 note or $50 note, but let's assume it's 50. So 20 students are given $50 notes to spend on themselves. And 50 students are given $50 notes to spend on others. So they're told to go and do their thing, and then they're asked to come back. And who is the happier of them? The ones who did for themselves or the ones who did for others? You can say, or you can write in the chat. Don't be shy. Well, okay. It's the ones who spent on others. So when we do things, yeah, so when we do things for others, that gives us greater happiness. than when we're just being selfish and doing things for ourselves. And so this is where this whole thing of social service, and in India, it's a big thing actually, Seva Samaj, where you just go out of your way to do something extra for somebody else. It's known by everyone that you don't charge, you just do it from your heart. I don't see it so much in the West unless you go to the Samaritans or something like that. But in India, it could be anyone. It could be like, okay, somebody gives up something for you or takes you, walks you, a few kilometers to get you to your place or whatever. I mean, okay, these are good deeds, but I'm saying you see them more frequently in India. Of course, it's a generalization. Many things are changing everywhere, but this sense of, okay, let me take out time, let me give to somebody else, let me give them happiness, let me make them happy, let me help them out. This sense is there. And so it's so true that when we are down in the dumps, so this was another experiment, not by Daniel Gilbert, but it was done in America, I forget by who, but basically it was a group of elderly people living together. Now, again, when they were told to do little chores and come out of their little sofas or seats and just come into action selflessly to do something for others or just clean up around the place, they became more active, they became more alert, and they became happier. And so that experiment was also proving if you don't use it, you lose it. So people who are not thinking, mindful, caring, aware, helpful, cooperating, then they also lose it. You see? So this is why I'm saying, as we stay more active in giving, in being with others, taking that time, it actually keeps us happy. And this is why it's so important to choose that over staying there down in the dumps. Because how long are you going to stay down there? And let me tell you that once you get into that depression spiral, it is so difficult to come out. It's not impossible, but it's a long road to come out. So let us do prevention. And so anytime you feel that you're getting bored, you're not happy, you feel like you're just swimming in those waste thoughts, negative thoughts, then really contact somebody, talk to a friend, come to one of our centers and just talk about it. And I'm sure you get remedies. But don't stay stuck in that frame of mind, because sorrow and sadness are like a black hole. And once you sucked into that, you think that that's okay. You start to believe that that state is okay, and it's not okay. That's not where we want to spend our time. We normalize it and we think, well, who's happy anyway? Everybody's got problems. Everybody's got issues. Yeah, everybody's got problems, but then there are some who know how to not allow them to be a problem. The problem is there, but it's not a problem to me that it's a problem. You see? So I can just, just let it pass. Just let it pass. Okay. So the other thing that Daniel Gilbert says is that imagine if you only had 10 minutes to live. How would you spend those 10 minutes? Perhaps, not worrying about your rent, your bills, your debts. You probably start focusing on the things that mattered to you. And so this is his point, is that and actually, yeah, this is an important point he mentions. He says, human beings are the only animals that think about their future. So when we start thinking about our future, then we have some, don't we? Don't we have some kind of, like right now, I'd like you to think, okay? Just think now, take a moment, stop what you're doing and think for a moment, how do I want my future 1 year, 5 years to look like? What are the elements of that? What is there? Who is there? What am I doing? What do I see myself doing? How do I see myself? Content, happy, successful, accomplished, content, yeah. Okay, just come back now. So he was saying that, he's saying that if you ask a young child, what do you want to be in the future? This young child is probably going to respond, I want to be the owner of a candy shop. Or I want to be a tree climber. And now we know that as the kid grows up, there's no way he's going to want to be a tree climber or a candy shop owner. He's going to want to have bigger dreams, do bigger things. So basically, the young child is living in the moment, cannot think of the future, and the adult thinks of the future. But while we're thinking of the future as an adult, we are postponing our happiness. Because sometimes we're just doing it because we want our kids to be happy. I'm making all these sacrifices for my kids, right? So if I'm making sacrifices for my kids, then when do I get to live? First, I make my way to finding Prince Charming. I find Prince Charming, then we have a castle, then we live happily, then we have children. Now everything is for the children. So when am I really living for myself? And so if I'm not living for myself now, and this is a very important point, especially for women who think that they're being selfish. You're not being selfish when you live for yourself, because I always feel when you replenish yourself, then you can give more to those around you. But why we get upset or disappointed is because our needs are not being met. We are not giving to ourselves. And because we're not giving to ourselves, then there's always this resentment of having committed or being too responsible or wish I was somewhere else than where I am right now. So that doesn't keep us in a happy state, right? This is the problem. It doesn't keep us in a happy state. So what are the, let's say, robbers? What are the robbers of happiness? It is complaining and, I don't know, I had a short list somewhere about those as well. Yeah, so basically, yeah, worry, guilt, stress, depression, oppression, repentance, complaining, all these things actually, they rob us of our happiness. Criticizing, yeah. Yeah. So again, if I'm criticizing, then this thing is not good enough, right? So in my mind, this place is not good enough. I criticize, my vision has gone to the negative, rather than taking a moment or two to see, okay, what is working? What is good? And instead of doing that, I just zoom in onto what's not working. And then again, I've set myself up for being unhappy. But if I say, no, the glass is half full, everything's good, everything's working, Even that which is not working is, is teaching me something. If I have this attitude, then yeah, I'm happy. And then again, I'm empowered. Right? So happy, let's remember that happiness is actually a very natural state. It's not something that you should need to make effort for. As soon as I say that I'm happy because, that's not right. Not happy because. I'm just happy because happiness is one of my innate qualities. So in other words, it's already bubbling from inside. So happiness is there, but I choose to focus on the sorrow. So the sorrow becomes the lid for the happiness. What happens when I get arrogant? When I get arrogant and bossy, then even though I want to be happy, even though I want to laugh, even though I want to be light, the ego says, no, stop. You can't show that side of you. They'll think, you know, that they've got one over you and you cannot show your vulnerability. And so there goes down the happiness. So I become serious, stern. Maybe we say I'm alert, I'm focused. But then again, I don't make friendships, or there's not that same interaction with each other. But remember those souls who are just happy-go-lucky, just a happy child. I mean, even as an adult, just having those kind of happy child feelings. Don't we love them? Don't we admire them? And we want to be like them, don't we? Because that is a power in itself, to not be affected. So yeah, definitely. There is some power in that. There is some truth in that. So it's so important to just, remember, and this is what we're doing in meditation, is that we keep remembering that we are happiness. Okay, let us maybe spend 5 minutes doing this. Let us get in touch. Let us tap into our happy state. So I'd like you to just sit comfortably. And let's say that, actually, this is another thing before I get into that experiment. This is another thing Daniel Gilbert says. He says, it's not remarkable that the pyramids were created or that the Golden Gate Bridge was created. What's more remarkable is that we have the ability to remember. We have the ability to experience those things. We have the ability to imagine. And it's so true, right? We have this power, this ability to recall, to retain. And so this is really where I'm going with this. What I want you to do is I want you to recall. Okay, let's get into a little meditative state. I'd like you to recall one of your most powerful, happy experiences. So I'd like you to go to that place and I'd like you to ask yourself, okay, what was happening there? What was going on for you there? Why were you so happy? What was working? Can you smell the smells around there of that time? And can you feel the same feelings? Maybe it's brought a smile to your face. And can you feel anything happening in your body? Can you feel any energy moving in your body? Can you feel any of these hormones, oxytocin, endorphin? Can you feel any of that? Okay. Now just jump into the future, to this moment. And now in this present moment, again, just mentally look around you and your life, what's going on. Is it the same kind of happiness, or is there a difference in that happiness? And if so, what's different? What's different about it? Is it possible to recreate that memory and that happiness now? Okay. So yeah, just kind of be aware of what you've just experienced. So they actually say that if we did the same for the opposite, so if we did the same for stress, like if you recalled a stress experience, it would have the same physiological reactions in your body just by recalling the memory. And so what we did was the positive, right? We recalled a very positive memory of happiness, and that should excite in us the positive hormones. And so this is really what we need to do, is really get rid of any feelings of upset or any unkindness that's been done to you. It's not helping. It's like moving around with a ball and chain. So maybe let me introduce my other point, which is that happiness is also karmic. And why do I say that? Because, yeah, it has to be in your fortune also to be happy. But you can create that by the choice you make. Karma doesn't say that's it. That's the end and all. No, karma says you have a choice. So by how we observe things, accept things, let go of things, give some things attention, not to other things, that is the karma that we create. You see? So when we are creating happy karma, then of course that boomerangs back to more happiness in me. But if I'm creating negative karma, then what's happening? Then yeah, there's unhappiness. Of course, if you give sorrow, you're going to get sorrow back. Right? So yeah, just be mindful of happiness and karma, that it is in my hands, but it could also be something that I'm having to settle. The fact that I'm sad, the fact that I'm down, probably means that there is something I need to settle in the soul. And so what do I need to do for that? Normally they say that in order to settle any karma, you have to give. You have to give. Give something. It's like, again, you have to kickstart a new positive karma. So when you kickstart a positive karma, you've planted a new seed, you're going to get new fruits from that, which are then going to empower you, give you strength to move on. Because you can't keep eating off the old tree of sorrow, right? So you got to plant new seeds. And let me say that there's no shortage of happiness. There's tons of happiness if I choose to see it. If I choose to see it, then it's there. If I choose not to see it, then it's not there. Just like, if you were to write, happiness is nowhere. Right? If you've got pen and paper, write it down without any spaces. Happiness is nowhere. Right, Grace? Tell me when you do it. Okay, can't hear you. You're muted.
Yes, I've written it without spaces.
Okay. That's it. Yeah. Now read it again. Happiness is
nowhere.
Happiness is now here.
Ah, yes.
You see?
Mm-hmm.
So happiness is here. As I said, if I choose to see it, happiness is here. If I choose not to see it, it's not there. Exactly. Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah. So yeah, happiness is a choice, right? That's why I love this topic, because honestly, I've made so much effort on this area. I'm not saying I don't need to make any more, and I'm not saying I'm perfect, but it's definitely something I've made effort on, because yeah, I don't want things to just take away my happiness. I don't want to be run with a remote control. And so I choose not to. I choose to always try and create a much more powerful thought than what is happening in the moment, because that has helped me before, and I have faith that that is what's going to help me. So when something is happening in your life, then try to see what's the best thought I can have in this moment about this thing. So as I mentioned, you have thoughts about your children, waste thoughts about your spouse, waste thoughts about the neighbors, waste thoughts about whatever's happening in the country, whatever. But see, can I create some better thought than that? A more uplifting thought, a thought that's going to have a future? And if I can, then yes, I'm kickstarting a new, let's say, domino effect of thoughts that are going to be beneficial for me. But if I continue to see the negative, if I continue to zoom in on that, then that's what's going to happen. Okay, then I'm going to say one more thing, and then I can open it up to questions. So the other important thing is really not to compare, not to compete with anyone. This really takes away your happiness. And there is that saying that don't, what is it? Don't something with the Joneses. What is it?
Don't follow the Joneses?
Yeah, something like that. Don't try and keep up with the Joneses.
Yes,
yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. So that's your neighbor. Okay. When I try to be, keeping up with the Jones, don't try to keep up with them. So they get a swimming pool and you want to get a swimming pool, right? Do you need a swimming pool? You see? Do you really want one, and do you really need it? Or are you just getting it so that you can look on par with them? So we create a lot of stresses in our life trying to be somebody other than who we are. And we see a lot of this in the entertainment business. How much time and energy goes into trying to look good and trying to please others and trying to look good for others. I can understand, okay, if you're in that entertainment business, you know, you need that figure, you need the look, otherwise you're not going to get paid. But then that's a choice that we make. Do I want the stress of that? Am I willing to continue with the stresses of that? So what I mean here also is be content. And it's okay to be where you are with what you have. There was one picture some time ago, it was circulating on WhatsApp. So basically, I'm not saying I follow these people, but there's two billionaires, right? Mark Zuckerberg and Bill Gates. And both of them were in a picture together. And both of them had jeans and a t-shirt. And no designer watch, no particular designer shoes. And so the caption was something like, you know, you don't have to prove that you have. When you do, I mean, they can buy whatever they want. They can buy the best. But that's kind of what I'm trying to say. That if you have it, you don't have to flaunt it to show that you have. If you want to wear what you have and that gives you a sense of self-respect, great, do it. But don't do it for sake of others, or don't do it to try and earn more respect from others. This is really, again, where we give away our happiness, our power to others. And what if you did dress your best? And what if nobody said anything? Then how are you going to feel? You made all that effort and then, right? Yeah, you get disappointed. So whereas if you do it for you, like even here, like, so there's my room, right? But I do my bed every day. I make sure the pillows are stacked properly. And I make sure it's clean. I vacuum almost every other day. Now, hardly anyone comes into my room. So who am I doing it for? I'm doing it for me. I'm not doing it thinking, oh, if others come, they will see. And no, we don't even have time to visit each other's room. So whatever you do for yourself. Even if you want to lose weight, you're doing it for yourself because you realize that you want to be healthy. You want to stay active. Don't create that figure for somebody else to look at. And then again, you get disappointed when nobody appreciates it. So yeah, don't compare, don't compete. Stay in the now, stay in the present moment. Stay in the present moment. Do what you do for yourself and do it now. Be happy in the now. This is another thing that takes away people's happiness. Either living too much in the past or living too much in the future. What I will have, what I will be, what I will do. Or even fear of the future. If I am aged, then maybe, oh, who's going to take care of me? So again, I'm not enjoying the moment. I'm just too worried trying to fix my future. But I forget that today was the future. So am I happy in this moment, here and now? So that's the point, isn't it? I think this is the crux of what I'm saying. Be happy now, and you be happy. Despite whatever, like no matter what, you be happy. Right? So yeah, I'm happy to take a few questions and then I'm happy to do another little meditation. Anybody has any questions or comments or thoughts?
There is one question. Someone is saying there are people who give others the silent treatment and block other people on their chat accounts. However, they speak beautifully on stage. Their behavior and manners are contradicting. Have you ever been in that situation? If so, how did you deal with them?
Yeah, of course. Happens to all of us. Yeah, see, one of the things we really try to practice on this path is we try not to have many waste thoughts. So when I see that I'm going in that direction of, see, they did this, and see, now they're saying this, and you have to kind of nip that thinking in the bud. And this is where karma philosophy helps. I mean, you just keep it at the back of your mind that, okay, if they are being a hypocrite, then, you know, they will suffer for it, right? I don't have to be judged, and I don't have to give them the punishment for it. And if I'm having a bunch of waste thoughts because of that, I will suffer then. So I don't want to suffer. They're suffering. I look at their suffering, and then I have waste thoughts. I suffer. It's not good all around. So I would just see, observe, and then I put a full stop. And you might say, okay, what if it affects you? But then we have to not let it affect us. We be careful, right? It's like the man who was helping the scorpion, and the scorpion kept biting him. And the onlooker said, but aren't you silly? Don't you know that the scorpion bites? He said, yeah, it's the job of, the nature of the scorpion to bite, but it's my nature to help. So I'm going to continue helping. But I would add an addendum to that, and I would say, you help, but you put on a glove. So in other words, you can see people are like that, but you continue to be nice, but you just shield yourself, right? You protect yourself so that you don't get hurt. Yeah.
I think this one is a related question. It says, how do you deal with others who make you unhappy?
Yeah, so this is what I'm saying. They're giving unhappiness. Why are you taking it? So this is the whole other subject, isn't it? People are giving sorrow, but why am I taking it? Don't take it. Again, somebody comes to Buddha and he's so angry. And he says, Buddha, you're supposed to help me out. And you're the one who, supposed to know all the answers. But I don't see that you're doing anything. And Buddha just sits there quietly. And then this guy starts to shout. He goes, not only are you not doing anything, now you're not saying anything.
Mhm.
And he's shouting and screaming. And then Buddha says, if you give something to someone and they don't take it, who does it stay with? Stays with them, right? So again, yeah, I know this needs inner strength. But like I said, if somebody is being nasty, then it's them and their karma. Don't take it on. Don't take it on. In other words, don't personalize it, and don't react. Try to stay calm. Try to stay cool. And you might even say in that moment, I need to go away. I need to go away right now. Or I can't talk right now. You can say that. You have every right to say that. But do it calmly. Don't shout back and say, no, I'm not going to listen to you. Just say, you know what? I don't think this is a good time to talk. Let's meet again. So yeah, that's, as you said, whoever asked the question, they're giving you sorrow. Yeah, they're giving, no? So don't take. You can see that they're giving. That's what they know. That's what they know how to do best. You do what you know how to do best. Anything else?
Not so far. Oh, there is one. How about Lokic family, jobs, triggering situations, abusive situations, not allowing you to be yourself, do whatever you want? Sometimes it's best to walk away.
Yeah, sometimes it is best to walk away. But let's just explain Lokic. So what this person is asking is, yeah, people that are connected with you who may not be meditating. So what to do with people like that? Yeah, so there's always going to be people who don't know, who kind of, they don't see the value of meditating, of being present, of being in peace, being in the present moment. There'll always be people like that. So now, okay, the other thing of being abusive, so you have to be careful. Yeah, if people are being abusive, then, well, you have to be careful. You might have to report it to somebody. I'm certainly not suggesting that you stay and get beaten up, and that's not what I'm saying. You don't be a doormat. Acceptance doesn't mean that you become a doormat. Yeah, so acceptance means that in your mind, you accept that the situation is like that, but you empower yourself through that. So please, anyone listening to this now, if there is a physical abusive situation, then please do report it to somebody. Nobody should treat you like that. You deserve to be treated better. And then when it's verbal abuse, then yeah, again, you might need to walk away. Again, you would say, you know what, I don't want to be spoken to like this. But this is what I'm telling you. It's very subtle mechanism that when I start to have very empowering thoughts, then that has a ripple effect on my vibration. Like what is atmosphere? Atmosphere is atmosphere. So when you start to create very elevated, powerful thought, that creates an aura around you. And then that becomes your shield. And no one dare speak to you like that. No one dare touch you. So it's not always that, oh, I have to change the people around me. No, you empower yourself. Then nobody dare do that to you. Nobody dare touch your soul. Nobody dare touch your body. But we have to empower from inside out. Yes, Mira.
There's what should I do when I hear bad things happening to a friend? Should I enter the conversation to console her? As often I end up siding with her, which makes me feel upset about the situation?
Well, I would say, if I mean, you play fair. I mean, if you feel that there is something wrong being done, then you have to step in. Yeah, you have to step in. You have to say, you cannot just be a silent observer. So, I mean, I do that sometimes. Like sometimes when there's meetings and I see that one person might be a bit hard on another person, then I'll say, well, this could have been said a bit like, a bit differently, or this person is making the effort. And I mean, I'll do my bit, what I feel is my bit, But I don't think we can just let things slide if you see something like that. But again, I feel it's how we do it. If we get angry like they're getting angry, then nobody listens. So it has to be done quite calmly, quite peacefully. And so I also will check myself. If I feel too passionate about something, maybe I won't say it, because then it won't come out right. So I'll wait for the right moment to say it. So we have to also weigh that up. I might want to, but if I know it's going to come out wrong, then better not to say it. But definitely, yeah, support those who are being bullied. Yeah.
Thank you, Aruna. There's no other questions for now.
Okay. All right. So let's just have a little meditation to end with. And yeah, let's have a happy meditation on happiness. So just sit comfortably wherever you are. And so right now, in this space, I choose to be happy. I choose to tell myself that I am the master of my happiness. Happiness is my treasure. And nothing and no one can take away my happiness. Happy is not just about giggling. Happy is about a very deep contentment where I'm totally at peace with my life. So just take a moment to look at your life and just see where you can be more at peace with your life. By just letting things go, just being a little more easy, a little more flexible, being a little more light-hearted. And emerge that inner child in you, the one that used to be so happy, the one that didn't have any cares in the world. Emerge that spirit. And maybe make a pact with yourself that whatever is going to come up, especially this week, that you're just going to stay happy no matter what. That you are going to choose to be happy. Because you've realized that that is your power. So now in this silent time, silent space, just create a very powerful, determined thought. I choose to hold on to my happiness. Just repeat that quietly a few times in your mind. And let every cell of your body hear that thought. I choose to be happy no matter what. And then you'll find that all the love, all the cooperation, all the friendship comes your way. Because people love to be around happy people. So always keep this light on, the light of happiness. Om Shanti.